Hi everyone, welcome to my second video in my REDRAW series. It's a personal project in which I make a first attempt at a composition, then improve upon that after some self-critique to see where I can improve. This time I'm working on a still life with charcoal. This particular still life I just grabbed off Google. I couldn't find who owns the photo, but given at this point in my art journey this is not for commercial purposes, I figured that would be okay. I put a link below for where I found the photo. In the future, I decided I'd only use free references for my little YouTube project just in case. Originally, the plan was just to work on learning to draw fabric, but I couldn't find a reference I liked. And unfortunately, the lighting in my house just doesn't make good reference photos. For my first drawing, right away I was unhappy with how uneven the midtone from the vine charcoal was. I could have taken the time to even it out, and indeed I did in my second drawing. I was feeling confident in my abilities to successfully cross contour lines, but you'll see as the drawing progresses that I unknowingly stopped using that technique quite quickly. You'll notice that my initial sketch doesn't have accurate proportions, and that is in a sense intentional, as my focus for this piece was getting accurate values on the fabric. Any additional successes became icing on the cake. A struggle I have been having while learning charcoal is keeping the values I've chosen. Something I've noticed is that I will try to blend out the charcoal and the values become lighter instead of remaining at least close to the same, and I can't seem to get that dark value level up as high as I'd like. The values in this drawing, you'll notice as it progresses, are too light in most of the highlight areas, but not dark enough in most of the shadows. Also, as the time spent on this first drawing continued, I found myself fatigued and my shading quality went right out the window. Ultimately, I wasn't thrilled with how many areas looked scribbled. This project has proven to be an improvement project in so many ways other than my art skills. Overall, with this first painting, I've been happy with how all the skills I've been learning about are coming together. With this drawing, I was attempting a more painterly look, and I think the finished project does appear to have some hints of that, though I think the first one looks more sloppy than I was intending. I wish I had taken more time for blending, but these projects, I would like to keep each drawing under 2 hours, so at this skill level, I think I'm doing great. On to my second drawing. Immediately, I made my reference photo black and white. I had seen a few people recommend this technique, and I'm so happy I did this. I felt more confident in where I was taking this drawing. My initial lay-in of the vine charcoal was darker, more even, and in an appropriate orientation, until I noticed the pencil marks from a drawing on the other side of the paper was coming through. That ultimately didn't matter, as after my entire sketch was filled in, it seemed to completely disappear, and I'd added a little bit of texture into the wood grain, you'll notice. As I was laying in the sketch, I knew I wasn't happy with the proportions, and I likely could have chosen to go back and fix it, but due to time constraints and the focus of the video being the fabric in the background, I soldiered on and was ultimately much happier with the results of the second drawing. Right away, I focused on getting those deep values into my background and worked harder to blend the background out. I also used a piece of scrap paper under my hand for the majority of this painting, as I smudged my first drawing on multiple occasions. You'll notice I'm using blending tools much more frequently in this second drawing and building up my layers in a different way than my first drawing. It was important for me to go this route to have better representation of my values. One point of this drawing that I was very happy with was the texture of the table edge. The detail unfolds as the drawing progresses, and I felt as if I had captured the essence of the texture without any major missteps, which is usually how my attempt at a wood grain texture turns out. You may also notice that as I bring in the erasers, I start to play with texture a little bit more. I was also starting to feel more confident in my mark making at this point, so you'll see me use the erasers to attempt to mimic the texture of the whole orange, as well as blending out some of the harsher strokes just to leave a hint of texture. Okay, so I'm jumping back in about a month later to finish this voice recording. My life got really crazy busy, and I found all of my spare time was being used to sleep instead of work on this little side project. So I'm actually rewatching this footage here, and I'm noticing that I've made a lot of improvements with my art since doing this redraw drawing, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed that I didn't spend a little bit more time on my proportions now that I'm looking at it. I'm very happy with the way the fabric on the second drawing turned out. I think that I'm starting to understand value and how it fades in and out a lot better now. What I think I might work on for my next drawing is I'm going to start focusing a little bit more on proportions when I work on things, because I'm really happy with the way this one turned out, and it does indeed look like I have fabric there, but it's not as good as I can do it now with only a month later. So I will probably be working a little bit harder on that from now on. Yeah, I'm excited to do my next project. Thank you so much for watching this video, and join me on my journey to get better at making art. Bye.